Live here. I'm Jackie Leverty from PledgeMe, and I have Alice Shopland here, the founder and CEO of Angel Food. Welcome, Alice.
Kia ora. Thanks for
Ah,
the opportunity to chat.
that's great. Well, Angel Food is New Zealand's leading plant-based cheese producer and is currently raising investment via equity crowdfunding with PledgeMe. We are here to give anyone interested in owning a slice of angel food the opportunity to get more background info from Alice directly and also to ask more questions about the funds and the processes around this. So please feel free to send in questions and comments. We will observe them and answer them during this live session. Alice, you are almost 50% funded with 2 more days to go to help you to enter the Australian market. Well, it's always like, kind of race at the end. So can you please give us a short intro to Angel Food and explain a bit more about what is this opportunity in Australia?
Yep, sure. So I established Angel Food in 2006. And although we've dabbled in other products, we have always had vegan cheese as our key focus. I set the business up because I wanted to make plant-based options more available and more mainstream and more sort of desirable. And I saw that cheese was the big gap in the market. So we started making our own, we launched New Zealand's first locally made vegan cheese in 2014, and we've just grown and grown since then. This is feta. Whoa, wrong way. Feta is one of our 2 new products. Also, we've got a new sour cream. And we sell our products in most countdowns around the country, also lots of New Worlds and Pack and Saves, and we're in lots of food service places. And if you get a vegan pie at the petrol station, chances are it's got our vegan cheese in it.
Oh, good.
So I wouldn't say we've saturated the New Zealand market, because it's still growing and there are still more opportunities coming up in Aotearoa, but Aotearoa is very small and it is very difficult to run a niche business. Even though we're more mainstream than we used to be, it's still a niche business for sure. So it's very difficult to run a niche business just with the scale of the New Zealand population. So that's why we want to get into Australia.
Great.
And
so,
also, sorry, getting into Australia is not only good for our business, it is good for our mission of making plant-based eating more mainstream and easier, because our products are very good. A lot of people have a negative conception of what dairy-free cheese would taste like. Our products are very good and delicious, and a lot of people are who might be a bit hesitant when they try them are very pleasantly surprised. So we want to enable people in Australia to have that experience as well.
Right. I tried your feta. I was very pleasant surprised.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. What is in terms of the market size? What's your understanding regarding the growth in demand for plant-based products, and especially plant-based dairy probably in both New Zealand and Australia?
Yeah, it's definitely going to keep growing. I mean, the dairy industry is quite damaging to the environment, and obviously it's terrible for the cows and their calves. And it's not that great for a lot of humans either. There are a lot of people who are lactose intolerant or allergic to dairy. And it's only in recent years that people have understood that dairy isn't necessarily essential for humans to eat, and it's not necessarily good for humans to eat. So the market is going to, but I think it's mostly the environmental impact that will see us continue to move away from dairy products and towards plant-based options. So the market in Australia and New Zealand is forecast to double from what it is today by 2027, which is actually not that far away. So by moving from the New Zealand market to the Australian market, which is 20 times the size, and in a market that is doubling in size over the next few years, that represents a really amazing opportunity for us, because we have an established brand that people really connect with, and they love what we're doing. They like our packaging and our marketing, and they love our products.
That's great. Yeah. Is there any big competition in Australia already, or kind of in that area?
Oh, there's certainly competition, which is good, because we spent a lot of years in New Zealand being the only dairy-free cheese choice. And while that was, quite a nice place to be, it also meant that there was almost no market. And it was very hard for people even people who knew we existed, it was hard for them to find our products, because there was no dairy-free cheese section in the supermarket. So yes, there's competition. We've tasted. I was in Sydney a few months ago, so I'm up to date with the market, the options that are available over there, and we're very confident that our products are, in terms of taste and texture and function, they're right up there, and in some cases head and shoulders above the current offering. And we've done a very thorough exercise of pricing the whole value chain to ensure that there is enough money, we can get to the right price on shelf, and there will be enough for all the people along the journey.
So it's still the taste is still the foremost important feature for products.
Yes, it's the taste, but it's also the texture. Cheese is a really textural food, so it's how it what it's like when you bite in. Well, what it's like when you it has to be like dairy cheese when you slice it and grate it, and it has to melt as similar to dairy cheese as possible. And then when it's in your mouth, it has to, you just don't want any surprises. You want it to be a sort of seamless experience that just fits what you're expecting cheese to do. And texture is the trickiest bit. I think our technical manager would agree. Texture is the really tricky bit with plant-based chease. But
interesting.
It's great.
But I've learned from you that taste has that cheese has an addictive element to it. Which ingredient is that?
Well, it's a chemical in dairy cheese called casomorphins, and that's there because the cow makes milk for her baby. And, as with all mammals, you don't want your baby to just have one feed and then not be interested again. So they're having casomorphins in there just keeps the baby coming back for more. And I remember when I was breastfeeding my babies, sometimes they would, have a big feed, and then they would just have this totally blissed out look on their face. It's casomorphins in action. It's not just the full tummy. So they're in cow's milk, and then dairy cheese is concentrated cow's milk. So it takes 10 litres of cow's milk to make 1 kilo of dairy cheese.
Wow.
Yeah, I think people are always surprised that, you can cram that much, but that's what it takes. And every litre of cow's milk requires a lot of water, a lot of land. So cheese is the concentrated result of all of that.
Mm. Hey, I know that when you entered actually in the New Zealand market with your plant-based cheeses, it was not everyone was really happy about that at that time in a farming community. So can you give us a bit more background on that one? And do you expect something similar to happen for you entering the Australian market, or has this changed?
Yeah, when we launched our own cheese in 2014, we did have a few people accuse us of being traitors to New Zealand
Oh,
because we were promoting dairy-free products. But yeah, which was kind of surprising because I'd never
mm,
been called a traitor to my country before. That was pretty dramatic. Um, I think the mood has totally shifted. I mean, at
mm,
the Christchurch Food Show, there was a guy working his way along the table, trying all of our different cheeses, and then he gave us lots of compliments and also said, "By the way, I'm a dairy farmer, and I think you're making amazing products."
mm.
Yeah, so
That's,
I mean,
yeah,
there are still people who think we're mad to question dairy or to, if you don't want to eat cheese, well, don't try and make something that pretends to be cheese. Just eat
yeah,
tofu or hummus. Those people are still around.
yeah.
Um, I think it'd be a pretty similar reaction in Australia, but the predominant feeling these days is not that
Mm.
agriculture is the way to go, and we just have to carry on with that and not question it.
Yeah, definitely not, especially when the forecast is a doubling of the market that is expected. So yeah,
Yeah.
interesting,
Mm,
interesting. So
yeah.
I also know that you have quite a strong advisor on your team who also has quite a bit of experience entering into Australian markets with other brands. So how do you plan to enter the market?
Yes, yep, we've been working for more than 6 months with Anna Subritsky, who's a real champion. She's the best. Shout out to Anna. Um,
Hey.
yeah, so she's worked in the grocery area for a long time, and she's worked in Australia and in London, and she's taken New Zealand brands into the Australian market. So it was great having her on the team,
Yeah.
and with her, I have developed a very detailed plan of how we want to get into Australia and what we want to achieve. So you can't totally plan out these things because you don't
Mm,
know
mm,
um, what conversations you're going to have along the way, which distributors are going to be interested. But our plan is to launch into Australia next year.
mhm,
We expect to do that through a distributor or a broker. We're
mm.
open-minded about that, and we are in conversation with several companies over there at the moment.
Mm.
And we don't expect to immediately set up our own sales team because we need to get the right balance between going in big, and we do need
Mm,
to get good traction in the early days. So
mm, mm,
that means a lot of marketing, but we also don't want to exhaust our resources
mm.
by building too big a team over there too soon.
Is there a
Um,
region that is especially prone to maybe plant-based cheese? Is this around the
um,
Melbourne
oh,
area?
kind of
Or
predictable. Sydney and
no?
Melbourne are the hot spots, and
Yeah.
so New South Wales and Victoria are. If we have to start state by state, we'll start there.
Mm,
But
mm.
there are good opportunities all over the country. So
No, okay. Let me
that
have a
will
look if
be the distributor we go with.
oh, yeah, sorry. Let me have a look if there was any. It doesn't look like there's any question yet from our audience, but a lot of positive comments about how great your cheese are.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, so in terms of why you are crowdfunding, can you tell us a bit more about that? What was your reason to plan a crowdfunding campaign, equity crowdfunding campaign with PledgeMe? And yeah, so just tell us a bit more about that.
Sure. So this is our third equity crowdfunding round with PledgeMe. I think it was 2015 that the Financial Markets Act changed, and PledgeMe was either the first, or I think PledgeMe was the first to offer equity crowdfunding once the rules had changed and enabled that. And we weren't the first campaign, but we were one of the very early ones. I mean, back in 2015, we were really niche, but there was a group of people who understood why we were doing and what we were doing and really appreciated it. So we had a crowd, basically, and that made crowdfunding a natural option for us. And then the same again in 2019. And I think it's partly, PledgeMe, I know it's a very friendly operation. I know how it works. And as we've grown, we have grown our crowd. So we're very active on social media. We really like engaging with people. We've got our recipe club, which we send out new recipes and sort of plant-based kitchen ideas every couple of weeks to that. So that all those people are part of our crowd.
Yeah. They are your ambassadors, really. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. So what does it mean for people to become a shareholder? What rights do they have in your current offer?
Well, they own a piece of the business. Currently, we have from the two previous crowdfunding rounds, we have 260 shareholders, and they all own a piece of the business. And as the business grows, the idea is that the value of their piece of the business grows as well.
That's great. And so in those investor terms, if people, kind of thinking about that investments, they could, think, oh, I'm really liking, or I like your products, and I really would like to support your way into Australia. But what is happening in the future of the business, and what do I get, or do I get something out at the end? So how does that look? What do you envision for that?
Yeah. Well, first up, we probably will not be paying any dividends because dividends need to come out of profit, and we think it's important for profits to go into growing the business. That's going to bring the best result overall. So we do expect to sell the business at some stage. I can't say because I honestly don't know how far away that is. But, if you look at me, you can see I'm no spring chicken, so it won't be 30 or 40 years away. I can tell you that much. So what people will, our plan is to keep growing the business. It's at a really exciting stage. We've got a good brand, we've got great products, and there's a growing market. This is becoming mainstream, and so it's not just people who are vegan, it's flexitarians. So mainstream eaters are starting to reach for dairy-free products at least some of the time. And that's a massive potential market. So our plan is, sorry, I keep going off track, but our plan is to growing the business until it's of a size where it is of interest to a bigger business that will buy it at a for a good price, a price
Okay.
that brings a good return for me and all the other shareholders, and a business that will carry on doing the work
Yeah.
of Angel Food, which is
Uh,
making plant-based eating desirable.
Amazing. Yeah. But I just want to ask, kind of, if you are watching this, please, and if you have a question, please put it in the comments box or in the chat. So we are super, super happy to answer that. I got one here from Charlotte. What is the minimum investment?
It is $331, which is a kind of strange amount, but
yeah.
So that's 10 shares at
Yeah.
$33.10 each.
Okay. And then if I want to pledge more, is this do I need to always do this in packages of 10 shares, or can I?
No, just any multiple of $33.10 above 10.
But it's not a very high. That's not a very high hurdle. So have you put this out there in mind with your customers, or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yes, I want it to be as accessible as possible. And also, I know that times are really economically difficult for a lot of people at the moment. So obviously, there's a lot of people for whom even $331 is too much to consider. But yeah, I wanted to keep it as low as possible. I'd rather have lots of shareholders being able to buy them because of the smaller amount than to restrict it to someone who can afford $5,000 or $10,000. And we've already got 260 shareholders, so it doesn't matter if we have a lot more shareholders. That would be good, because, as you say, they're all ambassadors for us.
It's really that's a really great kind of function of the crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, to help really businesses you're believing in, and to grow and also get something out at the end. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in here, but in terms of the rights as a shareholder, do you have complete voting rights, or all rights? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, when we set up the shareholder agreements, we could choose whether shareholders had voting rights, or you could, in some cases, companies keep the voting rights for larger shareholders. But I'm a very egalitarian person, so I said, no, everybody has voting rights.
Yeah.
Does mean more paperwork for us, but that's okay.
That's great. And I don't know if it is already, but probably Sport can put in a link to your PledgeMe equity campaign. So just otherwise go on pledgeme.co.nz and have a look under Angel Food. It's very prominent, beautiful, and that is great. Okay, there's another question coming in. Dion is asking, will there be a focus on retail or food service products when entering the market in Australia?
Hi, Dion. That will depend which distributor or mix of distributors we go with, but we are a brand-led business, and brand is strongest in retail. So I guess, in answer to your question, the main focus will be on retail, but obviously we want to take up food service opportunities as well. And ideally, we would use our brand in the food service space as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, makes sense. And here's another question. When you say voting rights, what does that mean? What can shareholders vote on?
That is a good question. Unfortunately, it's not exciting things like, which product should we it's you get to vote whether to accept the annual report that I put together each year, and are the directors being sufficiently remunerated or overpaid? No, they're not being overpaid.
No. Still bootstrap, I guess.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of voting required. But, if we had to make a decision about who to sell to, or whether to invest in a factory, or, some major decision, then, people would get to vote on that.
Oh, that's great. And are there some perks? Will your shareholders always hear first about new products? And
it's really tricky.
Yeah.
When we first, I know. When we first got shareholders, I thought that would be the case. But now that we have 260 shareholders, most of those shareholders, I do not know who they are. So we have to treat shareholder communications as though, that information is going to be public, because yes, shareholders are some of the first to know about it, but we do have to be very careful about what information we release, because it is becoming quite a competitive space. And New Zealand, and I suppose Australia as well, they're small industries, so word gets around pretty quickly. So we need to keep our competitive edge.
Very good. And I know that you are doing that. You have constantly, new product development and innovation going in this market. And as you say, the consistency of the products is really, the texture is really a major hurdle for a lot of competitors to do this, to follow you very quickly, right? It's not an easy process, as you would think. Just to have another call out, if there are any more questions from whoever's watching, please put them in, as we are about to wrap up, really. There is, I guess, kind of what stuck on me is like a doubling market in the plant-based cheese area for New Zealand, Australia, in terms of logistics. That makes sense, I guess, for you to go to Australia first. And all your projections you have done, for anyone who hasn't seen it, there is in the PledgeMe campaign, you find an in-depth IM document, an information memorandum about, where you also can find figures and forecasts. And I guess, could you say your forecast was be a bit more on the conservative side because of the current developments in society, or very optimistic, just to give you a feel?
I think they're conservative,
Yeah.
But you have to be, because there are so many unknowns. You can do all the planning you like, but there are so many changes happening all over the place. So we've based our forecasts on conservative assumptions. I mean, we're assuming that we're going to get into a major supermarket chain, so I guess that's not conservative, but we're not expecting to get into every store, and we're not forecasting a really high rate of sale. So
Can you talk about this already, or not yet? Probably, right?
No, it's too early. I mean, we're not expecting to get into Australia until 2024. So we're just on the ground at the moment.
It's a long lead time, isn't it? Okay, so what is your having, kind of saying there have been quite a few people on holidays and stuff, but there are 2 more days to go. So what can we all do to help you?
Buy some shares.
Cross the line.
Tell all your friends to buy shares.
Yeah. Okay.
People sharing the campaign would be amazing.
people sharing, if they can't buy shares, kind of sharing the campaign would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay. That is, I think that's a really great, final word from you, Alice. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And that's an exciting opportunity. And we wish you all the best for creating more impact and yummy cheeses, even if they are plant-based. And thanks to everyone who was listening in. You will be able to ask more questions. You can do this on the PledgeMe campaign website. You can send us emails. You can send emails to Alice too. She is very happy to answer any questions should you have some. The process is pretty straightforward and easy. You just need to register, and then you are off and away, and you can pledge your slice into Angely Heaven.
Angely
Thank you so much, and good evening to everyone now. Yeah.
Right.
Bye.